Wow, look at that, everyone. Panda's making his first top whatever list. What an original idea. Alright, well, I mentioned in my previous Demon Souls review that I was going to make a separate video tackling the bosses actually found to be really hard in the game. So I figured might as well do that immediately after the review for cohesion's sake. Also, my next game review is over a true piece of crap, and I sort of want to put that one off as long as possible. It's coming though. I'm not going to like it. Anyways, these are my top 5 hardest Demon Souls bosses. Naturally my opinion, so don't go getting your panties in a twist. Don't do it. I'm watching you. Panty police. That's child friendly. Alright, and for number 5, what do we have here? Nothing but a giant fucking spider right in my face. If there's one thing I hate, it's huge spiders being right up all in my face, doing their stuff. And if you play as a melee character like I did, you have no choice but to get up in this spider's face and do your stuff to it in order to get past. That's a lot easier said than done though, as not only does this thing have some pretty devastating up-close melee attacks, but he also has some really annoying and somewhat deadly range attacks that he can do, including these fireballs, which do a decent amount of damage, and this web shoot, sorta like Spider-Man, but not as cool. There's no Tobey Maguire to save us here, which will not only slow you down, but will make you an easy target for the aforementioned fireball. Not only that, but just listen to this thing. Just stop, please. I don't like you. Just take my sword to your face and go away. Now, I am kind of proud to say I managed to beat this thing in my first go, but it is also because I had a crap ton of healing grass, which I kind of just used to outlast this thing's health bar. It doesn't have a whole lot of health compared to the other bosses on this list, but for the first one in the game where I actually had a huge difficulty curve, yeah, no, screw the armored spider, I'm glad it's gone. Next. Okay, if there were a list of bosses with the most chuckle-worthy names in all of Soulsborne, the Penetrator would likely be near the top. Don't let his innuendo-y name throw you for a loop though. This guy means business. He's not all that fast, and the arena he's in is actually pretty well made for a 1v1 fight. The problem though is that he's tall, and his sword has massive reach. It also has this magic-y, glowy effect, which I don't know about other players, but it kind of threw me off, and I wasn't really able to tell where it was going to go. Or I just suck at 1v1 fights and really got my ass kicked because of that. Speaking of get my ass kicked, it took me 3 separate attempts to get past this guy. First 2 times I died due to the same attack, when he stabs you like a giant human shish kebab and does a crap ton of damage before throwing you away like he's probably saying, haha, get wrecked, underneath his helmet. I wouldn't be surprised if he was. Still, it was a fun fight, and one I actually wouldn't mind coming back to in another playthrough. Of course, that would mean fighting the armored spider again, and I think I'll pass. Okay, before I actually start discussing the flame lurker, let me just say, this thing has a metric fuck ton of health. And it took me forever to be able to beat this guy. Why, you ask? Well, I don't know, let's see. He jumps around a lot, he's really big, I'm really small. My weapons didn't do a whole lot of damage, mainly because I wasn't using the one type he's actually weak to, magic. There are these little pools of lava all around the arena I gotta avoid, and it's really easy to get trapped by him and just get walloped on until you die within 2 seconds. If you keep your wits about you and don't panic and just kind of follow him at a distance and avoid his attacks and wait for when he's obviously giving you a chance to hit him, basically. I mean, come on, this is the first Souls game. They can't go complete balls to the wall crazy. I was being saved from Bloodborne. Then you'll eventually be able to get past this guy. Unless you just bring magic weapons, and I have a feeling you could completely wipe him out really easily. I didn't do that though, so it took me a long time. God, that health bar. Okay, bonus points to this guy for having one of the coolest intro cutscenes of all the bosses out of Soulsborne. Besides the cutscene though, the reason False King Alliant is higher than the Penetrator, even though they're kind of similar, is because False King is not only a lot faster than the Penetrator, he also does a lot more damage and is a lot more aggressive with his moveset. And he also kind of saunters at you like he's got either too much swag or he just took a real big dump in his pants. Maybe both. And unless you heavily dumped all of your stats into being a human wall, trying to shield your way through his attacks and absorb the damage isn't going to work. You gotta dodge roll his moves like your life depended on it. Still, being able to beat this guy in my first go is something I'm also really proud to say I was able to do in my first ever Demon Souls run. Even though at the end I was literally breathing heavily, my hands were pretty sweaty, and I never wanted to fight him again. Okay, that's a lie. I actually wouldn't mind fighting him again. Gee, what a surprise, the Maneaters are at number 1 on a list of hardest Demon Souls bosses. And you wanna know why? Because fuck the Maneaters! Now the footage you're seeing here is actually, I think, my 10th attempt taking them on. And on this one, I actually decided to use the semi-glitch you can do where you shoot at the first Maneater with arrows through the fog gate and kill him before the second one even appears. If you don't do that though, and if you're a melee fighter, you have to hope that your DPS output is high enough where you can easily kill the first one before the second Maneater appears. And if you have to deal with both of them at the same time on this narrow-ass bridge, which is your fighting arena, thanks FromSoft, that really makes things fair. Then get ready to get your ass handed to you, or get ready to get knocked off the bridge, in which case nobody's going to be able to have that ass in their hands. Even if you only have to deal with one of these things though, it's still pretty tough. On the ground, this thing has a melee charge which does damage to you, a few melee swipes, his snake tail will bite his head which will then up his damage for a little bit. Yeah, you can chop the tail off before you actually kill the thing, but it doesn't make it a whole lot easier. And that's even if your RNG is lucky enough where he stays on the bridge for most of the fight. If you're like me, you'll get the really bad RNG where he spends most of the time flying around spamming magic at you, trying to knock you off with these force waves, or he'll just fly off into the distance and look at you, and then he'll come back and try and knock you off with a force wave. Like, come on, FromSoft, really? This is the only boss in the whole game that actually almost made me want to rage quit. It didn't though. I kept on trying, and I wasn't able to actually fight the two of them in a fair fight and couldn't take on both of them, and I had to use the glitch. But you know what? I don't care. If these creatures want to try and say they beat a stout and strong warrior by knocking him off a bridge, then screw them. I'm going to shoot him to death through the fog wall until I win.